They thought your silence was surrender, but it was the universe putting you in stealth mode, arming your spirit, sharpening your vision, upgrading your frequency while they danced around thinking the storm had passed. They thought they won. They thought the silence meant you were done, defeated, out of moves. But oh, the silence was a setup. And now that you're rising, they're not just shocked, they're shattered. Because this isn't a comeback, this is a cosmic retaliation. This is divine strategy unfolding in real time. And let's be very clear, their shock isn't sympathy, it's fear. They're not trembling because you're loud now. They're trembling because you're different. You're unrecognizable. The quiet, manageable version of you they thought they could manipulate is gone. And what's returned is someone they can't control, can't predict, and can't access. And that chosen one is haunting them. Before we go deeper, pause for a moment. Like this video, subscribe. Because when you do that, you're not just boosting a message, you're sending a signal to the platform. Another chosen one just woke up. This tells the system that this message needs to spread. And trust me, every time one of us wakes up, the world gets shaken. So if this is hitting your soul already, take that second. Like, subscribe, comment. And let's make sure every sleeping chosen one hears the alarm bell we're about to ring. Because this right here, this is no regular comeback. This is a resurrection, a return of energy they tried to kill. They poked the bear, thinking it was dead. They danced in your downfall, laughed at your collapse, gossiped during your breakdowns. They passed around your name like a rumor, never realizing your name was a prophecy. And now, the prophecy is walking, it's talking, it's glowing, and it's not looking back. They thought you were healing in peace. What they didn't know was the peace was part of the reload. They thought you were softening. What they didn't realize was that softness was the silence of precision, of someone calculating their next move in alignment with the universe itself. Because when the universe backs a chosen one, it doesn't make noise. It moves mountains in shadows and brings fire in whispers. Chosen one, your power isn't just returning, it's arriving at full force. And that kind of power doesn't knock. It kicks in doors, it breaks cycles, it exposes everything and everyone that was feeding off your dimmed light. And that light, oh, it doesn't just illuminate now, it burns, it confronts, it blinds the ones who were comfortable in the dark. The power of being chosen isn't in ego, it's in energy. You don't walk into rooms like everyone else. You shift the temperature. You don't raise your voice. You raise the frequency. You don't get revenge. You get remembered. And nothing shakes your enemies more than knowing they didn't break you. They built you. Their betrayal became your blueprint. Their mockery became your momentum. Every hit you took became fuel, and every lie they told became a stage for your truth. You don't even have to announce your return. Your presence does it for you. You don't have to clap back. The silence of your comeback is louder than their noise ever was. Because here's the part they never saw coming. You didn't just evolve, you escaped. You left their expectations behind. You left the version of you they thought they could control. You walked out of the system they built to keep you small. And now the world has to deal with who you've actually become. So when they ask, OMG, who even are you now? You look them dead in the eye and say, I'm the storm you never saw coming. And now I'm just getting started. So here's your moment. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you know this comeback is not about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving the universe right. If you've felt that silent shift inside you, the one they can't explain but can't ignore, type it now. Because when you comment, like, or share, you're not just engaging, you're awakening the algorithm to find the others. This is how chosen ones connect. This is how we flood the system with frequency. You ready? Good, because we're just getting started. And now, let's get into it, step by step. Trust me, if you're really chosen, something inside you won't let you look away. This isn't casual content. This is a soul mirror. Stay with me, because by the end of this, even you will be shocked at who you've become. Let's begin. Number 1. They thought you were leveling up for attention. They didn't realize you were charging up for impact. They called it a glow-up because that's all their shallow eyes could comprehend. They looked at the outer layers, your new silence, your sharper energy, your colder boundaries, and labeled it a phase, a look, a performance. But this isn't cute. This isn't soft. This isn't aesthetic. This is a power surge, and it's burning through everything that tried to contain you. You didn't evolve to look good. You evolved to shake the foundation of every room you walk into. This is not cosmetic. It's cosmic. Let's be real. They weren't afraid when you were broken. They were comfortable. Comfortable watching you doubt yourself, watching you give more than you had, watching you bend so far backward you forgot you had a spine. You were easy to digest back then, safe, software, predictable. But now, you walk like you know the universe personally. You speak like your soul has been in war councils. You glow like someone who doesn't just survive, you reconstruct worlds. And that's what scares them. You're not glowing, you're radiating truth. And truth offends the fake. It makes the insecure squirm. It makes the unhealed run. You don't even have to say a word anymore. Just your energy announces, I'm not who I was, and I'm not here for your comfort. That's why they act weird around you now. That's why they try to diminish your growth. Because you remind them that staying the same is a choice. And you chose to ascend. So don't water it down. This isn't some casual glow-up story. This is a spiritual voltage surge after years of quiet, internal warfare. People didn't see the nights you cried and still got up the next day. They didn't feel the moments your spirit broke in silence while you held others up. They didn't witness you reprogramming your entire identity while still smiling like nothing was wrong. They didn't know you were rebooting your soul, rewiring your spirit, recoding your destiny. They just see the power now and pretend they were there. But this version of you, it's earned. It's paid for in silence, solitude, and spiritual scars. And here's what's wild. Even now, even with the shift this loud, people will try to reduce it. They'll say, oh, you've changed, like it's a crime. Yes, you have. You were supposed to. They'll ask, who do you think you are? And you'll look them dead in the face and say, I'm someone who survived what would have destroyed you. You don't owe them humility when what you carry is divine authority. You don't owe them softness when they fed off your suffering. Your power isn't a performance. It's your birthright. Let them whisper. Let them project. Let them try to box you into the memory of who you used to be. That version of you was necessary for them, but it was never the final form. They met you in your building phase, and now that the blueprint's complete, they're intimidated by the design. Because people don't panic over glow-ups. They panic over power shifts. And chosen ones shift power without asking. This energy, it's bigger than looks, bigger than presence. It's energetic intimidation. It's the silent signal of someone who's not moved by outside opinions anymore. You're walking in alignment now, and that kind of movement doesn't just change your posture, it changes your atmosphere. Elevators don't announce their arrival, they just open. That's what you are now, not a performer, a portal. Ever wonder why some people start acting weird around you for no reason? Why people you've known for years suddenly don't know how to talk to you, how to approach you, how to look you in the eye? It's not because you've changed too much. It's because they never knew how much you were holding back. And now that you've stopped shrinking, their comfort has shattered. Think about every icon who's ever changed the world. Ali, Malcolm, Maya, Nina, Prince, Serena, even Tesla. What do they all have in common? People labeled them too much, arrogant, delusional, intense, crazy. And I know what you might be thinking right now. Why does it feel so lonely? Why doesn't anyone clap for me? Why do I feel like I'm becoming someone even I don't recognize? Because this isn't a public transition. It's a private evolution with public consequences. Your spirit is outgrowing the rooms your body used to feel at home in. The applause you're waiting for can't come from people who were rooting for your limits. The loneliness isn't punishment, it's insulation. The universe is protecting the frequency. You're being prepped for impact, not popularity. This isn't the glow-up for Instagram. This is the comeback the cosmos has been waiting on. You're no longer walking in your past. You're walking in your proof. Proof that healing is real. Proof that silence isn't weakness. Proof that divine timing is louder than any rejection. You're not just showing up. You're showing them that what they feared wasn't your failure. It was your fulfillment. So let them doubt. Let them pretend they don't notice. Let them side-eye your confidence like it wasn't carved out of heartbreak and rebirth. You don't need their recognition. You have activation. And activated, chosen ones. We don't glow up. We shock systems. Your walk is different because your weight is different. Your words hit harder because your wounds taught you how to speak from scars, not ego. Your silence scares people now because they know it's where you charge. And when you speak, you shift everything. This is the surge they couldn't predict. This is the voltage they tried to silence. And now they don't know whether to applaud or run. Number 2, they laughed when you fell. Now they're choking on the dust of your rise. They thought it was funny when you fell. Let's not sugarcoat that. They laughed when you lost, gossiped when you struggled, celebrated in secret while pretending to care in public. Some even offered you fake sympathy just so they could feel taller, standing next to your pain. But that laughter, that mockery, that smug little satisfaction they got watching you crumble, it aged like milk. Because now you've risen, but not slowly, not gently. You didn't come back with flowers and a fragile smile. You came back like an earthquake. You came back like fire with a memory. You didn't just get back up. You detonated. And now, they're choking on the dust cloud of your comeback. They can't see straight because the vision they created of you, small, broken, dependent, is gone. You shattered it. Your evolution made it obsolete. And while they're still trying to mock the old version of you, they're being haunted by the new one you've become, the one they never saw coming. Let's make something clear. You saw them, all of them. You heard the laughter. You felt the energy shift. You noticed the change in tone, the lack of support, the way people conveniently disappeared when it looked like you had nothing left to offer. You weren't blind. You were quiet. You weren't naive. You were patient. But now the time for patience is over, and the universe has flipped the script. You see, when chosen ones fall, it's never final, because our downfall isn't the end, it's the charging station. We don't collapse, we convert. All that pain, all that betrayal, all that laughter behind our backs, it becomes fuel. It turns to fire. And by the time we rise, we're not looking for applause, we're bringing reckoning. It's funny how they thought your fall defined you, as if a single moment of vulnerability could erase a lifetime of value, as if you were finished because you had a season of stillness. They didn't understand the chosen ones don't have breakdowns. We have prequels. They saw failure. But what they were really witnessing was foundation. You were being stripped to the root, so your rise would be undeniable. And now that it is, they can't breathe. They're spinning narratives trying to figure out how you pulled this off. They say things like, "Wow, you've changed," or "Where did all this come from?" as if your evolution happened overnight. But no, it happened every night. Every silent night you cried alone. Every lonely morning you chose peace over revenge. Every moment you kept going when your body begged you to quit. This rise wasn't random. It was ritual. It was earned in the dark while they laughed in the light. Let's go deeper, because some of them weren't even enemies. They were close. Family, friends, lovers, people you trusted, people you rooted for. The betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from those you once prayed for. But now, the betrayal is exposed, not by your words, but by your rise. Your success is screaming truths you never had to speak. Your elevation is their mirror, and what they see, it's ugly. They didn't just doubt you, they fed off your struggle. It gave them power, made them feel safe. Because if you, the strong one, could fall, then maybe their stagnation wasn't so bad. But now, your growth is an indictment. Your comeback is confrontation. Your light has become their judgment. And here's the part that really messes with them. You're not even thinking about them. You're not doing this for revenge. You're not looking back. You're just rising. That's what haunts them. That they're no longer relevant in your story. That they were the villains in a chapter you've already closed. And the dust they're choking on, it's from a version of you that no longer exists. This is what chosen energy looks like in motion. We don't retaliate. We rise in a way that exposes. We don't throw dirt. We build towers. We don't return fire. We become the storm. So let them gag. Let them squint. Let them talk. While they scramble for an explanation, you walk in clarity. While they try to control the narrative, your energy speaks volumes. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence is the proof. Your alignment is the evidence. Your peace is louder than their chaos ever was. They laughed when you fell. Now they cough on your comeback. And this is just the beginning. They called it a phase, but it was a phoenix cycle. They thought you were falling apart, you were catching fire. They labeled it a phase because that made them feel safe. Because if it was just temporary, just a mood swing, a dramatic spiral, a breakdown in motion, then they didn't have to take your transformation seriously. They didn't have to question their role in your shift. They didn't have to confront the truth that what they were witnessing wasn't weakness, it was rebirth. They didn't know they were watching a phoenix burn. They laughed behind your back and whispered, "They'll be back to normal soon." But normal? That version of you? It died in the fire. What they called a meltdown was actually the divine stripping of every identity you outgrew. What they mistook for a breakdown was the collapse of everything that was never built on truth. The relationships, the roles, the expectations, all of it had to burn. And chosen ones don't just go through phases. We go through flames. You didn't disappear to self-destruct. You disappeared to self-resurrect. There were days you barely recognized yourself. You questioned everything, your purpose, your worth, your voice. And while you were in the trenches, while your soul was screaming for clarity, they sat comfortably outside the fire, assuming it was just another episode. But it wasn't a breakdown. It was a breakthrough in slow motion. You see, real transformation is messy. It's violent in how it tears away the false versions of us. And for the chosen, the change isn't just external, it's cellular, spiritual. You don't just level up, you burn down. The light that returns afterward is not cosmetic, it's cosmic. You emerge unrecognizable, not because you changed your style, but because your energy no longer makes room for anything that doesn't serve your highest self. And that's what they couldn't understand. That's why they minimized it, because calling it a phase gave them hope that they'd get the old you back, the one who stayed quiet, the one who made herself small, the one who didn't ask for much, but gave everything. That version of you made them feel comfortable. And now, your presence makes them uncomfortable because your elevation reminds them of the evolution they're too scared to step into. Let them sit with that. Let them scramble trying to redefine you. Let them argue with your glow. Let them pretend they never doubted you while they scroll in silence, watching you become everything they once mocked. Because here's the truth. They didn't believe in your evolution because they were committed to the version of you that made them feel powerful. And now that version is gone, and they can't handle the one that came back from the ashes. You burned for this. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You burned for the strength to walk away. You burned for the courage to release what was killing you slowly. You burned for the clarity to see what was never love, never loyalty, never light. And in that fire, you lost parts of yourself that felt like home, but were actually cages. People forget that phoenixes don't rise out of comfort, they rise out of cremation. So no, this wasn't a phase. A phase is temporary. A phase is shallow. This was sacred. This was ordained. This was you going through the dark night of the soul, shedding every illusion, every lie, every version of yourself that was designed to survive instead of thrive. And when you emerged, they didn't know what to say because they were expecting a return to normal, but you came back renewed. You speak differently now. You move differently now. You require different things now. And their access, it's limited, not out of revenge, but out of recalibration. The version of you that accepted crumbs was burned in the fire, and the one that came back doesn't settle for less than divine. If they can't recognize you now, that's not your problem. That's their reflection. Because when chosen ones go through the phoenix cycle, we don't come back to fit in. We come back to redefine the room. We don't explain the glow. We don't apologize for the ashes. We don't hold space for the ones who handed us matches. So let them call it what they want. A phase, a breakdown, a mood. Just smile quietly, because deep down they know. They didn't witness a crisis. They witnessed your becoming. And now that you've risen, you don't owe them a single feather. Number 3. Your old self is gone, and they're still arguing with a ghost. There's something almost tragic about watching people try to provoke someone who no longer exists. They call your name, but they're talking to a ghost. They throw the same tired guilt trips, rehearse the same manipulation tactics, poke the same old wounds, but none of it works anymore, because the version of you they're trying to trigger is gone. That version of you that tolerated the disrespect, gone. The one who bit their tongue to keep the peace, buried. The one who kept showing up even when they were empty, vanished. Now they're shadowboxing, swinging at thin air, repeating old patterns in a space where your energy no longer lives. They're yelling at someone who doesn't live there anymore. It's wild how people will hold you hostage to a past self just to maintain the illusion of control. They'll say things like, "You've changed," as if that's an insult, as if you were meant to stay in their emotional chokehold forever. They want the version of you that didn't set boundaries, didn't speak up, didn't know their worth. And when you start moving like someone who finally sees themselves clearly, they panic. Because they didn't actually love you. They loved the version of you that made their life easier. And now that version is dead and gone. They're grieving not your presence, but their power over you. You stopped reacting. You stopped explaining. You stopped defending yourself in battles that only existed to drain you. And they hate that, because their favorite performance was watching you overextend yourself just to be understood. But now, you've seen the game. You've unplugged. You've elevated to a frequency that doesn't respond to chaos. You're not being cold, you're being clear. When you were that past version, you made yourself accessible to the wrong energies. You let guilt guide your decisions. You over-explained your heart to people who never earned the right to hold it. You stayed in rooms where your soul couldn't breathe because you thought loyalty meant suffering. And now that you've evolved, you understand it was never loyalty if it required self-abandonment. They want to pull you back into that version because that's the only one they know how to manipulate. They don't know how to handle this version of you, the one who doesn't engage, the one who doesn't flinch, the one who simply walks away without saying a word, because silence now speaks volumes louder than anything you could say. And deep down, they're haunted by it, haunted by how calm you've become, how detached, how unfazed, because nothing terrifies manipulators more than someone they can no longer access emotionally. They try to bait you back into old arguments, not because they miss you, but because they miss the control, the script they had, the response they could predict. But this new you shredded the script and burned the stage. They're still arguing with your ghost, still trying to gaslight your shadow, still trying to guilt-trip your evolution, still talking like the old you is going to show up and save the situation. But that version of you doesn't exist, and the person who stands in your place now isn't interested in rehearsing old pain. This version isn't vengeful. They're free. And nothing threatens small-minded people more than someone who no longer requires validation to exist. You see, when you evolve, you don't just level up. You become unrecognizable to the people committed to misunderstanding you. You make them uncomfortable by existing in your truth. And while they try to pull you back into the narrative they created, the universe is writing a whole new story with you as the author. The old you would have tried to explain. The old you would have apologized for growing. The old you would have dimmed their light just to keep everyone else from squinting. But this you understands that growth demands grief from others. Let them grieve. Let them mourn the access they used to have. Let them sit in the discomfort of your silence. Let them yell at ghosts. Because the person you are now doesn't owe them closure, clarity, or company. You've outgrown the role they wrote for you. And now you're not acting anymore. You're becoming. And anyone still stuck trying to speak to your past is doing so at their own confusion. They don't get it yet, but one day they will. They'll realize they weren't talking to the real you. They were trying to resurrect a ghost. And the only thing you leave behind when you evolve is echo. Number 4. You went silent and came back unrecognizable. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was system upgrade. And now, you're untouchable. They didn't notice at first. You got quieter, a little more distant. You stopped replying right away. You didn't show up to every event, every drama, every emotional emergency they threw your way. And the more silent you became, the more they assumed you were falling off, retreating, isolating, breaking. But silence is never what it seems when you're chosen. You weren't retreating, you were reloading. You weren't isolating, you were recalibrating. You went ghost, not because you were weak, but because you were being rewired by the universe. Your spirit needed space. Your energy needed cleansing. Your destiny needed a quiet room to download the next level. Because here's the truth no one tells them. When the chosen ones go silent, they're in transformation. And when they come back, they're unrecognizable. You used to over-explain. You used to show up even when it cost you everything. You used to give your energy out like it was free. But the silence stripped all of that. The silence was surgery. And what came out on the other side? A version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't break. And now they don't know what to do with you. You're calm in a way that feels dangerous to people who thrived off your chaos. You're unavailable in a way that exposes how much they depended on your access. You're different, but not in some dramatic, flashy way. You're different in your energy. It's sharper, focused, selective, and they feel it. Even if they can't describe it, they feel it. Because chosen ones don't go silent for nothing. We go silent to upgrade the system, to remove the bugs, to clean the code. You weren't hiding, you were evolving. And now, you're not just back, you're untouchable. They'll try to pull you back into who you were. They'll throw old bait, try to reignite old patterns, test the new boundaries. But they'll fail, because they don't realize they're not talking to the same system anymore. The old you would have engaged. The upgraded you doesn't respond to unaligned frequencies. You went silent, and now your peace speaks louder than anything they've ever heard. Let them adjust. Let them squint trying to recognize you. Let them wrestle with the truth that while they were busy talking, you were becoming. You didn't go missing, you mutated. And what came out of the silence isn't looking back. You're not who you were. And that's exactly the point. Number 5. They built walls. You built wings. They thought they had you contained, controlled, defined. They built emotional walls around you, expectations, manipulation, judgment, labels. Every brick they laid was meant to keep you small. They told you who you were, how far you could go, what you were allowed to be. They called it love. They called it protection. But it was always about control, their comfort, their limits, their fears. They weren't building with you. They were building around you, boxing you in. But while they built walls, you built wings. Every insult they threw became a feather, every rejection a spark. Every time they doubted you, you turned it into drive. They were focused on keeping you caged, but you were quietly laying down the foundation of your runway. They thought you were shrinking. You were just studying wind. And now, you're flying. You were never meant to stay in their box. You were never built for small minds or tight spaces. You were never meant to be kept, tamed, or contained. You're not a possession, you're a presence. And the more they tried to trap you, the more unstoppable you became. They misunderstood your silence as submission, your loyalty as limitation. But you weren't staying still. You were learning how to lift. While they were guarding the cage door, you were growing wings strong enough to break the whole structure. And when you finally flew, they didn't know what hit them. Because here's the part they never saw coming. You weren't waiting for permission. You were preparing for takeoff. And now that you're rising, they're scrambling. Not because you're doing better, but because they can't reach you. Their words bounce off your energy now. Their tactics fall flat. They're stuck at the cage, keys in hand, wondering why you don't want back in. But you're gone, high above, out of range, out of reach. You see, chosen ones don't destroy the cage. We outgrow it. We don't stay to argue with the guards. We rise so high, they lose sight of us altogether. Let them keep their walls. Let them sit in the house they tried to trap you in. You've got sky now, and sky has no ceiling. You didn't just escape their limits, you transcended them, because what they called rebellion was really just flight. Number 6. This comeback has consequences. Let's not get it twisted. Your return isn't a feel-good story for everyone. It's not soft piano music and warm hugs. It's not about being the bigger person or pretending the pain didn't happen. Your comeback isn't just a celebration, it's a reckoning. Because when a chosen one rises, it's not just for them, it's a ripple effect. It exposes everything and everyone who mishandled you. Now they're facing the consequences. You didn't return to be palatable. You returned with receipts, energetic, spiritual, emotional. Your presence now triggers guilt in the ones who thought you'd stay broken. Your glow, it reveals the shadows they've been hiding in. Your peace, it disturbs the chaos they once tried to keep you locked in. You were quiet while they played, while they disrespected you, misused your loyalty, underestimated your power. You said nothing. You let them think they were winning. But silence doesn't mean surrender. It means the universe was watching. And now, alignment has come to collect. You didn't clap back. You didn't expose them. You didn't have to. Your elevation did that for you. Now they're sitting in rooms that feel colder, trying to recreate the energy you used to bring for free. They're replaying old conversations, realizing how much they relied on your kindness, your presence, your light. They see you thriving and say things like, "You switched up," when the truth is, they fumbled your access. And this comeback? It's a reminder that chosen ones don't need to throw dirt. We rise, and in doing so, we make the truth impossible to ignore. Our glow isn't revenge, it's revelation. It's the universe balancing the scale. Let them squirm. Let them act confused. Let them tell the story in a way that makes them look innocent. You're not responsible for their version. You're responsible for your return, and it's loud. They thought they'd never be held accountable, but when you walked out of that fire, whole, healed, and higher, they realized something terrifying. You didn't die, you transformed, and now, every fake apology, every silent betrayal, every time they mistook your grace for weakness, it's all backfiring, because you didn't just rise, you returned with cosmic receipts. And the universe, it never forgets a chosen one. Number 7, you're not arrogant, you're activated. Let's clear something up right now. You're not arrogant, you're aware. You've done the inner work. You've bled in silence. You've healed the wounds they swore would define you. And now that you walk with your head a little higher, now that you speak with power, move with clarity, and own your presence, suddenly they want to label it arrogance. No, that's not arrogance. That's activation. You're not bragging. You're finally breathing. They were fine when you doubted yourself. They clapped the loudest when you were quiet. But now that you've remembered who you are, now that you're not asking for permission to take up space, they're uncomfortable. And that's not your burden to carry. You don't have to shrink just because others haven't chosen to grow. You don't have to soften your light to protect someone else's shadow. You've spent enough time folding yourself in half to make others feel whole. Enough time second-guessing your greatness because someone else couldn't recognize their own. But here's the truth. When chosen ones wake up, they don't get humble. They get honest. You're not just confident, you're called. And confidence with purpose, it makes people who haven't done the work feel exposed. But their discomfort is not your responsibility. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to shift rooms. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be light. They'll call it too much. They'll call you full of yourself. But they never called you too much when you were too available, too silent, too drained. They liked the version of you that second-guessed everything, that needed validation, that tolerated disrespect, that stayed quiet in rooms that mocked your presence. But the moment you stopped asking to be seen and started showing up in full power, they flipped the script. Let them gossip. Let them mislabel your growth. Let them sit in circles talking about how different you've become. That's what happens when chosen ones remember who they are. That's what happens when a soul stops surviving and starts embodying. You're not here to downplay your destiny. You're here to own it. So speak with power, move with certainty, say what you mean, and stand on what you know. That's not ego, that's alignment. That's you walking in truth without apology. And if they can't handle your glow, then they were never meant to walk beside your light. Number 8. You're the proof they said didn't exist. You are the evidence, the walking, breathing, blazing proof that someone can be broken, isolated, underestimated, betrayed, and still come back, not bitter, but better. Not hardened, but holy. Not lost, but lit from within. You are what they swore was impossible. They said, people don't recover from what you went through. They said, once you fall that hard, you don't get back up. They said healing was a myth, growth was a lie. That being both real and resilient couldn't coexist. But here you are, standing in the aftermath, glowing with grace, fire in your chest, truth in your spine. And now they have to swallow their doubts. Because you didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't lose your soul to the storm, you found it. They expected you to come back bitter, vengeful, paranoid, because that's what they would have done. But instead, you came back more grounded, more aligned, more unshakably you. And that kind of comeback, it's not just personal, it's prophetic. It makes people pause. It makes them rethink everything they said about you and everything they believe about themselves. Because if you could come back from that, then maybe they have no excuse. That's why your presence is so loud now. That's why it disrupts energy. You're not just a person, you're a mirror, a reminder, a disruption to their denial. Because people like you aren't supposed to exist. People who lose everything and still choose peace. People who get stabbed in the back and still move with integrity. People who fall apart quietly but rebuild in silence, stronger than ever. You're the glitch in their matrix. They told the world no one could walk through fire without turning cold, but your warmth returned. Stronger, deeper. They said no one could lose that much and still be love, but your heart stayed open. They told others to settle, to give up, to become numb. But then you showed up. Proof. And let's be honest, your glow offends the ones still addicted to their excuses. It confronts their comfort. It exposes their stagnation. You're not just inspiring, you're challenging. Because if you could rise without bitterness, then maybe they could too. But some people would rather stay broken than admit healing is possible. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them wonder how you did it. You don't have to explain. Because your life is the explanation. Your peace is the proof. Your comeback is the confirmation. You're not just an exception, you're the example. Number 9. You didn't heal to be humble, you healed to be heard. Let's say it with our whole chest. You didn't go through hell, heartbreak, and healing just to come back quiet. You didn't do all that inner work just to return and play small for other people's comfort. You didn't pick up the shattered pieces of your soul just to whisper your truth like it's a favor. No, you healed to be heard. This isn't about being soft, passive, or endlessly forgiving. This is about walking in your full expression, loud, clear, unapologetic. You didn't heal to prove you're kind. You healed to prove you're whole. And wholeness isn't quiet. Wholeness has a voice. It has presence. It echoes when you walk into the room. Your voice is the vibration now. And every time you speak with truth, you shake foundations that were built on fake peace and false power. The world loves the idea of a healed person as someone soft-spoken, humble, easy to manage. They want the enlightened version of you to be silent. But that's not healing. That's repression. The real you, the chosen, evolved, activated you, is bold. Not out of ego, but alignment. You speak because your throat chakra survived spiritual warfare. You share because your silence once almost killed you. You're not here to whisper wisdom. You're here to shift the atmosphere. And let's be honest, some people liked you better before you healed. They preferred you broken, confused, self-doubting, because then your power was tucked beneath your pain. Now, it's out in the open, and it's undeniable. They'll say, "You're different now." Yes, you are. They'll say, "You think you know everything now." No, but you know yourself. And that knowledge, that's dangerous to the people who counted on you never finding it. You didn't go through a healing journey just to fit into a watered-down version of yourself. You went through it to remember who you are. And now that you know, you speak differently. You choose differently. You take up space. You were quiet for too long. Quiet out of survival. Quiet out of fear. Quiet because you didn't want to shake the table. But now you are the table. And anyone who can't handle your voice is free to find another room. You didn't heal to be hidden. You didn't rise to blend in. You healed so your story could be a sound, a frequency only the awakened can hear. So speak, walk, create, move like your scars turned into superpowers, because the healed you was never meant to stay silent. Number 10. You shocked them because you stopped explaining yourself. You shocked them, not because you screamed, not because you slammed doors, not because you made a dramatic exit. You shocked them because you went quiet and stayed that way, because you stopped explaining, stopped oversharing, stopped justifying every move, every boundary, every glow-up. And suddenly, they didn't know what to do with you. See, some people only felt powerful around you because they could read you, because you used to hand them access through explanations. You gave them the script, the emotional blueprint, the GPS to your every reaction. You kept trying to make them understand, hoping that if you just explained it right, they'd finally respect your growth. But they never wanted to understand. They wanted control. They were never confused. They were entitled. They weren't missing your message. They just didn't like what it meant, that you were evolving without their permission. And now, you've cut off the emotional supply, the long texts, the exhausting breakdowns, the constant explaining of why you're unavailable, why you're not the same, why their behavior no longer gets a reaction. Now, you just move. And that movement, it's got them spinning, because your silence hits harder than your words ever did. It's not cold, it's clarity. It says, "I'm not mysterious. I'm just unavailable to your nonsense." They try to pull you back with, "You've changed. I don't even know you anymore." Good. That means the elevation is working. Let them call it distance. Let them call it ego. Let them call it whatever they need to so they can sleep at night. But you don't owe them a damn explanation. Your boundaries don't need an apology. Your peace doesn't need a press release. Your energy doesn't require a permission slip. You're not playing small just to be relatable again. You're not going to bleed out trying to explain to people who benefited from your confusion. They weren't confused when you were loyal without limits. They weren't confused when you overgave. They weren't confused when you betrayed yourself just to keep the peace. But now that the peace is within you, they want answers. Now that you've upgraded, they want access to the manual. No, you've evolved, and not everyone gets to be updated on the latest version of you. That's not pettiness, that's protection, that's alignment, that's maturity. You're not here to convince people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You're here to live out loud, to walk in truth, to let your actions and your absence speak for you. You don't owe them clarity. Your life is loud enough. And now, chosen one, if you felt every word like it was carved into your spirit, know this: your rise wasn't an accident. It was alignment. You didn't just come back. You returned on a frequency they never saw coming. Let them talk. Let them watch. You're not here to explain. You're here to embody. If this message lit something inside you, like this video, subscribe to the channel and drop the number 77 in the comments if you know you were never meant to stay caged. Share this with another chosen one, because someone out there needs this reminder right now. Let's shake the system.